We'll be back from that break, and thank you for keeping it Smart 24 TV, where we drive your business. It is your morning starter. This is Smart Meets Business SMB, and we're
here to drive business together, to inspire your morning, to make sure you get motivated, to make sure you get money even when you do not see hope of getting any. And, do you see hope of getting money today?
I am always hopeful of getting money on a daily. Though some days are better than the others, some days are worse than the other days.
And now we're going to be heading into our SMB across borders, where we cross the borders here immediately after the country. We cross to our immediate neighbors, but also crossing globally, where we look at what's happening around the globe. And now let us start it with our immediate neighbors, Kenya, where sanctions block around 10 billion Kenyan shillings export to Russia. Now, Kenya's export of tea, flour and fruits to Russia have been derailed into the wake of sanctions imposed on Moscow by Western nation after its invasion of Ukraine, hurting local smallholder farmers. Now, the blockade of the exports, estimated nearly about 10 billion shillings annually, comes after the major container and shipping lines temporarily suspended cargo shipment and from Russia in response to the sanction. Now, including Russian banks from SWIFT, the international payment system, and its central bank for international operations, has made it harder for the country to pay for imports and receive cash for exports. And SWIFT, that is the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, it is ensuring that it is a secure messaging system that facilitates rapid cross-border payments, and its instructions are typically honored without question, making international trade flow smoothly. Now, the exclusion of Russia banks from SWIFT will be riskier and more expensive from Kenyan exporters, halting exports like spices, nuts, vegetables to Russia. Russia's assault on its neighbor is the biggest state-to-state invasion in Europe since the World War II, prompting sanctions from the US, Britain and European Union. Now, the impact of the economic sanction was felt on Mombasa tea auction this week. That was last week as we speak, whereby buyers from Russian market, the fifth largest consumer of Kenya's tea after Pakistan, Egypt, UK and UAE, kept off. And the unflagged international retaliation against Russia over the brutal military aggression against Ukraine has taken a toll on trade between Nairobi and Moscow, which topped actually around 45 billion in 2020, titled in favor of the world's largest country by the area. Now, Russia is also seen as a largely growth market for Kenya's growing export. Tea is the leading export, while Kenya's coffee enters the country as re-exports from other countries. Russia, for example, bought around 29.61 million kilos of tea worth around 6.25 billion shillings last year from 25.14 million kilos valued at around 5.02 billion shillings in 2020, according to the industry data. And as we conclude on this one, you will realize that the East African Tea Trade Association, which controls the Mombasa auction, said that the Danish shipping giant Mascar and also the CGM for France has sent advisories to Kenya's exporters, informing them to suspend the supplies to and from Russia, either via the sea or land. So it is vis-a-vis, whether land or sea. The suspensions on exportations of Russia to Nairobi, Kenya have been suspended. This is leaving the economy get halted down, especially for the producers of around tea, around fruits and flowers, coffee as well.
Now I think it is high time the world now realized that the snake has started to beat. Reason being, we were looking at how in the long run will this affect the entire world economies. With the continuous sanctions that are being put onto Russia, you can see that some countries are getting affected, more so those that have been having market because in self-defense, even Russia is trying to cut off from some of these countries to hit back at the sanctions that have been put onto it. And in the long run, you will actually see that not only shall the fuel prices be affected, now you're seeing even Kenya's tea is actually being affected, and many other products out there, as well as the coffee and all that.
Yeah, it's causing a lot of, you can imagine what is going to happen to maybe the Kenyan shilling, for example. And you just have to know, it being an East African country or even an African country, Uganda trades with Kenya. So you realize, you realize that it's not going to just affect Kenya, because it will still impose a cause or impose an impact on their export or importation. So what is going to happen to a country like Uganda or Tanzania on how they are doing trade? So to me, I think it's high time now the East African communities or even the African communities meet up very quickly to discuss trade impact barriers that are going to arise from the Russia-Ukraine, because this is coming up. Now we are moving ahead from just this excitement of maybe borders around, excitement on social media about the Ukraine war, and now it's coming down.
Now we're feeling the pinch.
It's coming down, and very soon, Uganda, we're going to feel it too. You're going to feel it too. Do you want to feel it?
Because I do believe us being a landlocked country, and then if Kenya, which is actually having a port, managing our imports as well and exports, in one way or the other is getting affected, now then the landlocked Uganda will later on feel a pinch that will actually be more sour than ours. If we are to look at this particular, we wouldn't want to wish this for our own country, or wouldn't want to see this with the accelerating prices that are actually shooting high in the country. But with the Russian invasion of Ukraine, you can clearly see that it's going to affect not only countries, the big nations, but it will also affect us, the smaller nations, or the other countries that are actually growing into middle class income. Sure,
status. But we will surely seek more expert government or expert reactions on this to see and also get to know what they are doing for these particular causes and sanctions that are bound to bring also change in our economy.
Well, still with the issue to do with Russia, but the other story was mainly looking at how Kenya is actually being affected. Now let's take a look at how Russia is still facing serious sanctions and definitely hitting their economy greatly, as Microsoft has stopped selling products in Russia. Microsoft did stop selling its products and services in Russia following the country's invasion of Ukraine. Major technology companies including Apple and Dell have made similar decisions before Microsoft. Microsoft said it had paused other aspects of its business in the country to comply with government sanctions. It added that it was providing cybersecurity support to Ukraine to defend against cyber attacks initiated by Russia. And according to Brad Smith, the Microsoft president, he came up with a statement saying that since the war began, we've acted against Russian positioning, destructive or disruptive measures against more than 20 Ukraine government, IT and financial sector organizations. Now let's look at the suspended operations furthermore. Several tech companies have also taken action to restrict Russia's state-controlled media such as RT News and Sputnik. Earlier this week, Microsoft removed RT's mobile apps from the Windows App Store. Facebook, Google and YouTube have taken measures to restrict Russian state media from money from ads on their platforms. Let's look at the other tech companies in Cisco, Oracle, Netflix and Spotify have also suspended operations in the country, as Airbnb has stopped all bookings in Russia and Belarus and has offered free housing to 100,000 refugees fleeing Ukraine. So you can see how other private sector players as well hitting hard on Russia and closing business in Russia, so which is in the long run going to affect Russia. If you're to look at how many companies are trying to run away from running business in there, just for example, now look at the fact that there have been Russian citizens that have been greatly employed under these companies, and at the time when these companies decide to first close business, not until Russia removes its army of Ukraine.
I'm just, making a big sigh on that. Looking at your job, looking at your career just die because of the war here. And as we move on, you're going to realize, let's just dive into it, where the Russian backed TV news channel also disappears from the UK scenes here. And the Russian backed channel RT has disappeared from all broadcast platform in the UK. Now the UK access to the TV network, formerly called Russia Today, has been affected by a ban imposed by the European Union. Although the UK is no longer the European Union, the bloc applied sanctions to the satellite companies in Luxembourg and France, which provides the RT feed to the Sky. Now, Freesat and also Freeview, the RT said that the facade of the free press in the Europe have finally crumbled. UK Culture Secretary, that is Nadine Dorries, who described the channel as Putin's polluting propaganda machine. She said it hoped it wouldn't return to the UK scenes. Also, UK media regulator Ofcom is currently investigating RT for 27 potential breaches of its broadcasting code. The watchdog has the power to revoke a broadcast license, but also in any action it is likely to take on weeks. Now the European Union said it was preventing RT and Sputnik, which is both state-owned broadcasters, from being received across Europe until the aggression towards Ukraine ends. In a statement, the European Union said that RT and Sputnik prompted systematic information manipulation and also disinformation by Kremlin. And in the response to the channel, removal of RT Deputy Editor-in-Chief Anna Balkina said the media regulation should be divorced from geopolitics, led by independent bodies and expert regulators, ensuring diversity in news information and sources is protected. Now we speak about media. How it is going to be affected, or how it's already been affected. This is the closure, or this is a ban of a media house. That means it's not going to be functional for some time until the Ukraine sanctions or the Ukraine conflicts are done. But where does this now leave the reporting? Where does it leave the business? The business as well, because people bring in business, but that's anyway. Is there any business that is going now to sell via the TV station, for example, in Ukraine? You realize there is no one going maybe to be coming to advertise for that particular time, but still information is key. Relaying information, educating to people or talking to people is very key. And to me, I thought media was independent.
I've actually been trying to Google RT here, and since Saturday. So Friday, when I was trying to Google RT, that is the RT news, just like when you go on Google, try to look for services that Smart 24 TV provides. Then surprisingly, it is now showing forbidden. That's an error. That is what they bring to you, and they actually say client does not have access rights to the content, so the server is rejecting to give proper response.
So that is what you get when you type in RT now. You could try it as well, maybe from your phone or from your laptop there. It's a ban really, and this one is bringing, it is bringing, I can say, a cause around media. I do not know, maybe the people who are working there,
even
employees.
YouTube cut the ads that will actually bring in money.
Let me just hope it is just for the station, or just for the entire station, not imposed onto people. Because if this goes ahead to be imposed onto individuals, that means their life, career are going to be ruined.
Now, for those that are still working in Russia, the TV is on. In Russia, you still have RT. RT is running because some sources actually show that Russia has actually moved on to Rumble. After big companies have actually, remember, according to Putin has been having, let's say, plan Bs. Every time they try to block this way, so he's planning everything that is going to bring him back. So when it's when the tech companies put him down, he looks for another platform that will give him airplay. So why the reason as to why they actually, now European countries do believe that RT is bringing on board propaganda.
Yes, yes.
Because Putin uses that channel to actually come out and address masses on matters. Because for him, he's also defending himself.
They're highlighting manipulation as well.
Yes, he's protecting his people. While other TV stations on the European continent, all the international world, actually reporting against Russia. So they do believe that RT is actually protecting the Russian president. That is why they had to cut off its presence in most of these countries, and UK took the first step.
Very well, and that one just reminds me on how independent media has to be, even amidst conflictions, even amidst world
wars.
wars.
Just like the UBC of Uganda.
Owned by the state.
So it's owned by the state.
Okay.
Just like BBC in the UK and KBC in Kenya. So it is that. It's just like, I believe, when God forbid, maybe
is there a time media has to break rules? I still believe it remains, independent outside the propaganda, outside the manipulation. Yes, and to me, you blocking people's accessing, because right now you cannot access RT when you want something direct from, or when you want Russia. to hear something direct or to look at something direct from Russia. You're limited to that. That means the public is limited to receiving information.
Because even now, the Russian president cut off international media from accessing Russia since they started putting sanctions on media in Russia.
That is why, Joram, we are seeing a lot of false reporting. I'm going to term it false reporting, because there is a lot of now propaganda on media, again, on social media especially. You find you're repeating something or telling us something different from what is happening, simply because you blocked. So what the choice you're left with is just thinking with your head what could be happening, and you providing information that is not critical at some point. So that one is also going to cause a huge debate around there. But away from that, I still believe that, and I still believe in, because this is our institution, media. So as media, we are independent, regardless of the propaganda, regardless of the conflictions. But at some point, we pick out what is important for you in some circumstances. Like, for example, what's happening in Russia, in Ukraine or Russia. We have to, if that was happening here, you can imagine what would maybe Uganda Broadcasting Corporation do. Would it stop relaying president's information? Would it stop?
It will definitely have to.
Because definitely, you as citizens, you still also want to be in touch. You want to be in the know of what is happening. And that information is not bound for Ugandans, for example. But Kenyans will also want to really know directly what is happening. But that is, I close my case there.
Now let's look at, let's still stay with Asia as we look at China. As China aims to boost big bank loans to small businesses over 40% in 2022. China is aiming to lend small businesses from large commercial banks by over 40% this year, as the Premier Li Keqiang, who is the Prime Minister, told the annual meeting of Parliament on Saturday that the government will urge financial institutions to cut lending rates further, reducing fees and promoting mid and long-term lending to the manufacturing sector. Li did say this reading his work report to the parliament in China. China's 5 major banks, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, there is the China Construction Bank, there is the Agriculture Bank of China, then there is the Bank of China and the Bank of Communications. Those are the 5 major banks, and each reported more than 30% lending growth to small businesses in 2021. As state broadcaster CCTV revealed this in January. CCTV did reveal that the highest growth was 53.15% by a bank it did not name, as China has been making efforts to enhance financing support to micro and small enterprises, which it sees as key contributors to stabilizing employment and people's livelihoods. The government will prioritize employment through fiscal and financial policies to enhance support for companies to keep and increase jobs. Those are statements coming in from Li, who is the Prime Minister in China. It will also set up financial stability guarantee fund as to safeguard against systematic and system risks. he said. Lee also said China will fully implement a registration-based IPO system this year.
Okay then, and that is for China. You know, Chinese are always inspiring. They're very creative people and innovators. And I can tell you, I've got Chinese friends, by the way. Why are you laughing?
No, I also have a friend who's studying
I've got Chinese friends.
Yeah, she's studying Chinese, and I told her, you're going to get a lot of money if you're good at
But
Chinese.
it's not Chinese. It's not
she's
Chinese.
Ugandan. She's actually from the West.
Okay then. I'm talking about Chinese friends, real Chinese. They have, when you are interacting with them, you tend to feel like okay, what do I have to bring? You know this saying of what do you bring to the table? So when you're interacting with a Chinese personnel, especially maybe the one whom you can communicate, and you realize they are speaking a lot of I don't want to call it even informational things. They're speaking activity. They're speaking practical. You get. And when you're just interacting and you're still, maybe you do not know what you really want. So my advice to you, if you're going to make a Chinese friend, or always know what you want. Go there knowing what you want. Go there knowing how you're going to benefit from that particular person, because you're going to be challenged at some point. So you shouldn't get challenged. I was challenged at first, but with time, I became used.
I know some words in Chinese. I
bet that was the only thing you knew, by the way. Okay, crossing over to Ghana as we continue with the SMB across border. Ghana is set to host the largest agriculture exhibition from 23rd March to 25th of March. Now, the Agritech West Africa, a leading exhibition company based in India, will organize the largest agricultural, agribusiness, food, beverage and processing exhibition in Accra from March 23rd to 25th as the International Conference Center, or at the International Conference Center. Now the exhibitions will cover the entire agricultural value chain, ranging from machinery, agrochemicals, food processing and packaged food and beverages. More than 100 exhibitors from Ghana, South Africa, India and some agribusiness companies from West Africa and Europe have already confirmed their participation around there. The 3-day event is supported by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, falling in line with President Nana Addo Akufo, whose vision is making agriculture very pivotal for Ghana's development effort. And Mr. Thomas James, the project director of Agritech West Africa, while addressing journalists there at the media in Ghana on Friday, was highlighting that the exhibition was very vital to help stakeholders in Ghana agriculture and food processing industry to learn about new practices, products, as well as modern agri-technology innovations around the globe, and adopting some of techniques improving their trade. The Ghanaian and Western Africa agriculture-based companies would have opportunity to connect and network with manufacturers and suppliers during the exhibition. And it will also involve a lot of seminars, conferences and prefixed meetings to enable exhibitors to discuss potential contribution, collaborations, partnership and distribution engagement. Joint ventures and investment ties will be made around there. All necessary agreements therefore have to be observed as COVID-19 protocol a guarantee there. And then we conclude on this one, other federation farmers organization network in Ghana. So these are some of the federations. Maybe if you can hear them now, or if you can take a listen, you can try as much as possible right now to at least research about them, coordinate with them, make sure you tap on this opportunity there. There is Ghanaian Exporters Organization, there is regional farmers cooperatives and groups, as well as international associations like UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce, there is the CCI France Ghana, there is the ITA and Ashokam and CEDA South Africa. So get in touch and make sure you are liars, because this exhibition of showing off agriculture exhibition, or of showing off any ranging from beverages, processing, food and agribusiness is not going definitely to leave you the same in case you be a part of it. Joram Postonko.
Ghana. Well, just recently, Ghana said it has been performing poorly among the currencies in Africa. And now let's look at, when you look at, they're trying to say that they're going to use the agriculture exhibition here to make sure that
they boost it?
They boost, I believe, to boost their farmers. They may not boost the currency as of now, but they're going to be helping boost their farmers mainly. Because
but it is going to be boosted. Why? If you look at over like 100 exhibitors across the globe coming in, that is the city will be having value. Even when China even when American people come with their dollars, they're going to exchange it.
Japanese yen. Yen.
I miss the Japanese yen. You know, when highlighting on trade forex. That is all we had for you for the SMB Across Borders. We had to look at how the Russian-Ukraine conflict is continuing to put a lot of force, a lot of changes, not only for Russia and Ukraine, not only especially for Ukraine or Russia, but African continents as well, also experiencing the hard shit on it.
Well, I was still reminding Rita one of my favorite currencies that I love.
Japanese yen.
The Japanese yen and the Zambian kwacha. Is it kwacha? Yes, the Zambian kwacha. So those are some of those currencies that I want to hold for some good time. Well, with that, after the break, we are going on to discuss more of the business. But we do have business tips and we have business quotes that will enlighten you throughout the day. The tip is to give you more ideas on how to effectively run your businesses today, and for the quotes to keep you motivated and see whether you are moving on the right track or whether you need to add something to your life. Well, stick around.